hi there everybody, Future Q here. I know this is supposed to be a live channel, but the bad video I made today requires some explanation, along with the series we are starting. I have been streaming just over 2 weeks now, and I have 10 followers. This is awesome. I'm actually super psyched about this, and approximately half of the people that have followed me on Twitch have subscribed to one of my YouTube channels, which have gotten over 12 hours of watch time in the past 5 days alone, without any other promotion, aside from like 3 or 4 DMs. I am really pleased about this. These are tiny numbers to you, but they are huge to me. However, I've pretty much only been streaming the 1500th most popular game on Twitch, and while it is important to only make content on Twitch about games that you're interested in, if I'm trying to promote my YouTube channel and talk about politics, streaming the 1500th most popular game with an average viewer count of 23 probably is not the way to do it. Now, I'm not going to stop playing Rome 2, or stop streaming it. I love that game, and I will not be done with it until I reach the end of the world as Macedon, reconquer the entire Roman Empire as Rome, and then conquer it again as Aurelian. But that is going to take a lot of time, even if I do it every day. So I'm going to be introducing a new series on this channel that might end up being cross-posted if it goes really well. Today, I would like to introduce the Relatively Civil Discourse live political philosophy Convoy. This will be an occasional stream of the 198th most popular game on Twitch, Euro Truck Simulator 2. I bought this game before I could drive, and I haven't really played it since I got my license, but I had a lot of fun with it at the time, and I think it's going to be a great way to introduce people to political thinking on Twitch. Now, to start our convoy, we're going to be reacting to some content that actually ended up being quite integral to my thinking on the subject of politics. If I could recommend any course on all political science to anybody, it would be this one, or one like it. A course on political philosophy, or the history of political thought. If you take this course and understand it, you will, in my opinion, have approximately half a political science degree. At least. I took this course in the University of Calgary, and got just over halfway through it when COVID hit. I found a few of these lectures to be absolutely indispensable in completing the course while I adapted to online learning. So I could not think of a better way to introduce the average viewer to political thought than a course that helped me understand it. I also think that there are a lot of people out there who are kind of intimidated or bored by political philosophy, or who aren't interested in trying to translate the academic discussion of politics into the contemporary discussion of politics. And, well, I think watching a Canadian guy drive a virtual truck around Europe might make this process a little more accessible to someone who would be otherwise uninterested. Now, I said occasional for a reason. I'm going to go hard at this and try and do it properly, so I will be doing all of the readings for this course before we watch the lectures together, and I've actually been writing draft scripts talking about why you should read some of these books since I started my political platform. I would like to release those essays alongside these videos as well, although not a single one of them is even close to 25% finished, so the series is likely going to be a lot more occasional than I would prefer. But the first 6 trips of this essay should only require 2 or 3 scripts, although one of them is going to have to be on the first half of the Republic, and that is going to be pretty hard to write. But anyways, on to today's video. It is bad. Everybody has to start somewhere, but not having the proper settings when I started the game, when I booted up, and not knowing about the YouTube issue, which I just fixed and will tell you about later when I started the stream, make this introduction perhaps one worth re-recording later. However, I want you guys to have my genuine first reaction to these lectures, so that we can both approach them with the spirit of beginners. However, the first 12 minutes of this video, the audio balance is terrible, and for the next hour and 12 minutes, it is simply bad. But this is how we are starting, not how we are continuing. If you sit through this video, thanks a lot. Please look forward to one reacting to the apology, with proper settings, audio and video with subtitles, sometime in the next 7 days. Thank you so much, and here you go. Start recording. Alright, here we go. Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. If you made it through the cringe last sentence of my introduction, you will know that we are playing Euro Truck Simulator 2, baby. Maybe this game is not super amenable to streaming. Maybe I shouldn't change the volume mix while I'm playing it. But anyway, we'll just keep that down about a third. Okay, perfect. Here we go. That's a little bit better. All right, so yeah. Sorry, thanks for being in. This is a stream, not just a YouTube Let's Play, so I can do all this live bullshit. We're just gonna turn down the music. Okay, here we go. My character name is obviously gonna be Keel. My name for those of you who are interested. Alright, screw this. We'll fix this in a second. I'm just gonna mute it for now. Alright, picture. Let's pick the most Canadian looking guy. Why I don't want to be sexist, but why are we starting our... Oh, I picked the female. I picked the female picture. I didn't realize. Sorry, my bad there. Alright, who's the most Canadian looking trucker? This zoomer ass guy probably looks the most like me, right? Yeah, especially with my hair like this in the headset. This guy, maybe? Ooh, this guy looks kind of alt-righty. Maybe he joined the political philosophy convoy. Oh, same thing with this guy. Maybe these are the developers. Oh, I hope I'm not crapping on the developers of this game. Let's see. None of these people really scream Canadian trucker to me, except for that guy at the top. Oh, we have a lot of people to choose from here. Oh, that guy. That guy's got it. I think that's got to be this guy. This guy is definitely it. I don't think we're going to be able to top him. No way. There's no way we're topping this guy. Nah, I think we're good. I think we chose our man. I think we got our man. This guy's alright. No, we can't beat this guy. This guy will be Keel. Our preferred truck design? Ooh, I did actually used to have a preferred truck design. I think it's Volvo trucks, or I think it is Volvo trucks that have my preferred interior. I think we're going to go with the Volvo. I can't remember though. Like I said, I haven't played this game since I got my driver's license. We have to choose a logo. Maybe I'll import a custom logo later. Let's be the tread or the gear. Let's be the gear. Alright, please select the name of our company. We will be, and I gotta be honest, I thought of this the second I thought of doing this series. We're gonna be relatively intact shipping. Oh, can't make it shipping. It could be SH, shipping company, SC, shipping company. We speak English, we only have Europe, we are going to be cloud saving. Let's unmute the music so that we can actually get into the game. Alright, oh, banger. Okay, what is our driving method? I only have a keyboard. No, I have a keyboard and a mouse, sorry. That is way too loud. It's at 7 now. Okay. I think we want real automatic. Oh, we don't have pedals though. Use buttons to switch between driving forward, steering, neutral, or reversing. Yeah, I think I want that one. Shift or right shift to gear forward. Oh, okay, that's not that hard. Okay, finish wizard. Alright, I want to start at the northernmost point and head to the southernmost point. Oh, is this the entire map? Is this the entire base map of the game? Or are we playing at the wrong resolution? We must be playing at the wrong resolution. We can't even see. This has got to be Glasgow, right? Or no, I think Glasgow's more to the right. This can't be Edinburgh, though. Oh, we obviously have to start in Kiel. It's like without question. If we can start in Kiel, we are obviously starting in Kiel, and we can head to Bern. I would like a tutorial. We'll start the lecture that we're going to be reacting to today after we complete the tutorial. Welcome to Euro Truck Simulator 2. At last, you have the chance to experience your dream job. Driving a truck, baby. Your own transportation company is now open for business, but sadly, you lack the money to buy a truck. For now, you'll have to work for other companies as a driver for hire. Your task is to safely deliver a load of vinegar to Polaris Lines dock in Travemünde. I don't know, German accent. Your employer has provided you with a vehicle and will cover all your expenses. Don't let anyone down and arrive on time. We will. Relatively intact. Alright, here we go. We are rocking our Volvo. E to start the engine. Oh yeah, I like the Volvo because of the included GPS. Okay, we got throttle, steering wheel. Yeah, it's super easy. Drive forward if you can stop. Oh, we got to shift up. So let's shift into first. Bam, there we go. Interior camera, 1. Chase camera, 2. Okay, this is good to know. Top down, 3. This will be for parking. Next camera. Okay, let's just go with the interior view. And press enter to continue. Roof camera. Yeah, we don't need these. Okay, it's time to make a delivery. Let's use our GPS. Okay, press F1 to look closer at it. Ah, this is what we want. How do we get this? We used to be able to have this in the bottom right all the time. There's shortcut keys assigned to what's use functions. Oh, this is kind of a boring tutorial. Will you not stay there, please? Yeah, sat nav calls read advisor available at all times. Read advisor displays your current status and helps you with information about your current job and points where to go. Gotcha. Yep, time, fatigue, Scalawed, page toggles. Oh yeah, these are important. I remember these. one of these will kill someone to tow your truck. Yeah, at the bottom of the page is an estimation of the remaining trip time and distance. This is a great stream so far. Switch to the next page by using 0 or F6 to continue. The job description page summarizes what we're carrying. F7 to continue. This is our truck condition. Probably F8 now, right? If we have to get stuck on the road. Yep, we're probably going to be using that quite a bit. Alright, we're good. Press F1 or on pause. Okay, we gotta get F5. Okay. All set, ready to go. Are we in first still? Yes, we are. Okay. Let's set off. How far are we going? Should say. We going 99 kilometers to start our journey? Maybe we should get our lecture going actually then. Perfect. 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 We will click play.
Start today by.
And we'll pause. Okay. So now if I want to play the game, if I want to play the lecture, we are ready to go at all times. Turn the game. Oh, we can turn our game sounds down finally in here. And probably set a resolution properly. Graphics. I hope does this game, yeah, we're in 1440, which is weird because this one doesn't work. Default refresh rate. That might be our issue. Yeah, we'll have that on. We're gonna have our graphics on ultra, obviously. Audio. Definitely turn on the music. It's really the only thing I want to check out so far. Perfect. Okay, I think we're good. We can have the regular music, but let's not have the UI music. Alright, I think we're good. I remember all the controls. I hope the audio balance is good. Let's just check it really quick. It is good. Okay, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and thank you for your patience. Let's drive. Let's get this vinegar delivered. Okay, we're first. Setting off. I think we'll do the first drive. We'll see how this we'll see. Okay. Popping out of the station here. Oh, I'm not gonna have fun. I'm gonna have fun on this convoy. Alright, let's check both ways here. Oh, by the way, this stream, we're not going to go angles of the road, okay? Who cares about driving on the right side of the road? Who cares about yielding, okay? I know that I sometimes joke about each of but we're not going to be representing a law-abiding citizen on the stream, okay? We're ripping it. Maybe if this stream gets popular or not, but break. Okay, so good so far. Also, we have a very small. I think I'm gonna need to turn on the game sounds. We have a very small trailer to start with. Truck engine volume. Yeah, let's probably half that. Truck turbo. I'm not sure if we're driving a turbocharged truck. I like that you can change all the truck settings. Okay, hopefully that helps. Is that a little bit better? I think it is. Okay, we're speeding big time. That's great. It means we actually get there faster. They should actually give us a reward. Do I remember the signal ones? No, that's the wiper. So we gotta break the turn. Okay, this is gonna be a fun game for me to talk about politics with, especially if I try and drive as fast as possible. Oh, also we only start with $2,000, so I better not. Oh, let's see if I can get the wipers off. Okay. So, those are the signal lights. I thought I pressed those buttons the first time, but I don't remember how to get the buttons. P. Okay, I pressed P, I think. Okay, there we go. Okay, this is going very well so far. Okay, speed limit is 60. Way too slow for us. It's also way harder to stay between the lines if you're playing on a keyboard. Also, I don't want to trigger you guys with my keyboard sounds too much, but I really don't have any other options for driving this truck. I'll obviously just keep my foot on the gas the whole way. Oh, 90 is our top speed in this vehicle. Well, we Alrighty, should we start a lecture? Yeah. We've been driving for like a half hour in-game time. See how far we get. Alright, let's go.
Asking the question, what is political philosophy?
I'm gonna turn them up a little bit. Alright, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope that we have fun doing this. And thank you for your patience on that lengthy tutorial and settings and all that jazz. Okay. Let's get back to the game. That's better.
Custom dictates that I say something about subject matter.
Make that a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay. Sorry, we're almost there. I would like to make it big enough so that you guys can read the subtitles. And we can have these my face cam is approximately on the same level. I can read those subtitles, and I can read them on the stream. Perfect. All right, enjoy, guys. Thanks for tuning in once again. Hopefully I'm not annoying you with that.
Matter of discourse at its outset. This, in some ways, might seem a case of putting the cart before the horse, or the cart before the course, maybe, because how can we say what political philosophy is in advance of doing it? Anyway, let me try to say something that might be useful. In one sense, you could say political philosophy is simply a branch, or what we call a subfield of the field of political science. Yes? Right? It exists alongside of other areas of political inquiry like American government, comparative politics, and international relations. Yet in another sense, political philosophy is something much different than simply a subfield. It seems to be the oldest and most fundamental part of political science. Its purpose is to lay bare, as it were, the fundamental problems, the fundamental concepts and categories which frame the study of politics. In this respect, it seems to me much less like just a branch of political science than a foundation of the entire discipline. The study of political philosophy often begins, as this course will do also, with the study of the great books, or some of the great books of our field. Political philosophy is the oldest of the social sciences, and it can boast a wealth of heavy hitters, from Plato, Aristotle, to Machiavelli, Hobbes, Hegel, Tocqueville, Nietzsche, and so on. You might say that the best way to find out what political philosophy is simply to study and read the works of those who have shaped the field, yes? Right? But to do that is, I recognize, not without dangers, often severe dangers of its own. Why study just these thinkers and not others? Isn't any so-called list of great thinkers or great texts likely to be simply arbitrary, and to tell us more about what such a list excludes than what it includes?
Alrighty, perfect. We're arriving.
Furthermore, it would seem that the study...
Okay, let's just let ourselves in the staff entrance here. Okay, oh, looks like we've got to drop the stuff off over here. Take a little bit of a shortcut here. Is that our way in? How are we getting in here? You gotta be over there. Is that gate just gonna open for us? I don't see how we get in there. Oh, I gotta shift down. Can I just turn in? I don't think I can just turn in. Oh, sweet, I can. Awesome. Oh, and I can just park the trailer anywhere in. I don't actually... Ooh, a little bit to left there. Okay, perfect. Alright, do I just literally, at the terminal, once you reach your desired parking spot, proceed to park the trailer? At some terminals, you can choose an alternate spot for less XP. If you get the trouble, you may also choose to complete the delivery automatically. Is this the next spot? It did say change the scale of the map. Maybe it's over there. This looks like another gate anyway. Open? Not opening. This has been an absolutely thrilling stream. Okay, oh, trying to jack the trailer. Oh, shit. Sorry, got the gear shifting a little bit away from me there. I don't think, did we just drop it on this thing too? That kind of looks like it. No, I don't think that's what it wants. So let's go through that gate, I guess. So let's straighten out our wheels. Go in reverse. Okay. Oh wait, no, we dropped it here. Perfect. The truck has to be on it, not the wheel. Okay, so now I can choose where to put it. Alright, we're gonna do it for real, obviously. Oh yeah, see, we're literally just backing it straight in. Oop. Right there, right? Okay, please brake. Shift up. Okay, we gotta go forward, straighten this trailer up behind us, and then just back straight in. That's my plan. Okay, let's brake, let's brake, let's brake. Okay, I think we are pretty lined up. We have a lot of time to figure it out. Okay. Oops, I'm already screwing this up. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's hard to do this when you can't see the wheel. Okay. No, we're not fucking doing this on this run. We're obviously not doing this. Oh, and I really keep pressing the... Oh, I can use the parking brake? Press the space bar. Yeah, let's actually just park it here. I'm glad it lets you be a pussy and change your mind. No way I'm backing that in. Excellent! I'm a level 1 newbie. I'm halfway there. And I'm free as the wind. Oh, snap, ladies and gentlemen. This is our headquarters. It's a pretty basic garage. It might not be much, but it's a start. Unfortunately, I haven't got anything to park in it yet, so there are no trucks in sight. Once I've earned enough money and bought a truck, I'll be able to move in the world freely and run my own business from here. Good luck. Oh, sick. Keel. Oh, did I spell my name in all caps, or is that the default? Yeah, Keel really dreams of having a Volvo truck. You can see it, and I did remember correctly. Alright, so I can pick my next job down here. We can only do quick jobs. Okay, so we're going to sort by length. We want the highest price per distance, right? Or should we just sort by length? No, we should not just sort by length, eh? So you want descending price per distance, going from Kiel to Rostock. I feel like we should... I want to buy my own truck. Although, what's the longest ones that we can do? Descending route length. Oh, and I have to... Do I have to drive from where I am to pick it up, or do I just spawn there? Looks like we had that right one, with descending price per distance. Kiel to Rostock. Okay, now, I really wish I could get this to work. I don't know how to fix this problem. Oh, I think I actually do know how to fix this problem. Maybe that will do it.
Study of the great books or great thinkers of the past can easily degenerate into a kind of
Let's just pick it up.
discourse at its outset. This, in some ways, might seem a case of putting the cart before the horse, or
All right, let's try this again.
the cart before the course, maybe, because how can we say what political philosophy is in advance of doing it? Anyway, let me try to say something that might be useful. In one sense, you could say political philosophy is simply a branch, or what we call a subfield, of the field of political science. Yes? Right? It exists alongside of other areas of political inquiry like American government, comparative politics, and international relations. Yet in another sense, political philosophy is something much different than simply a subfield. It seems to be the oldest and most fundamental part of political science. Its purpose is to lay bare, as it were, the fundamental problems, the fundamental concepts and categories which frame the study of politics. In this respect, it seems to me much less like just a branch of political science than a foundation of the entire discipline.
You're gonna have to take that. You're gonna have to listen. We're gonna flagrantly violate the law in this series, okay? So we're just gonna have to learn to absorb these tickets.
The study of political philosophy often begins, as this course will do also, with the study of the great books, or some of the great books of our field. Political philosophy is the oldest of the social sciences, and it can boast a wealth of heavy hitters, from Plato and Aristotle to Machiavelli.
We do have all the most interesting thinkers, and the weirdest thinkers, I don't know, if anyone gets to claim Diogenes, it's us. We get to claim Socrates. Aristotle was a total polymath. I mean, even for the Greeks, he was a total polymath, so I don't really feel like laying our hands on him. Machiavelli, John Locke, so many fascinating political science thinkers, and also so many people that lived strange lives on top of writing strange work. But anyway, let's get back to the lecture. Also, thanks for listening once again. I'm really glad you're here, even though we can't see the professor, but we'll see you next time.
Hobbes, Hegel, Tocqueville, Nietzsche, and so on.
Nietzsche,
You might say that the best way to find out what political philosophy is simply to study and read the works of those who have shaped the field. Yes? Right? But to do that is, I recognize, not without dangers, often severe dangers of its own. Why study just these thinkers and not others? Isn't any so-called list of great thinkers or great texts likely to be simply arbitrary, and to tell us more about what such a list excludes than what it includes? Furthermore, it would seem that the study of the great books or great thinkers of the past can easily degenerate into a kind of antiquarianism, into a sort of pedantry. We find ourselves easily intimidated by a list of famous names and end up not thinking for ourselves.
Good point.
Furthermore,
really
doesn't the study of old books, often very old,
also something I'm kind of concerned about, something that interests me about political punditry. Oh shit, this is our turn. Something that interests me about political punditry on the web is that, I'm starting my political channel right now about commentary, and what's crazy to me is that I'm starting it by writing a political platform and saying that these are policies that I care about, and that's not how people start political channels, right? I'm starting mine by saying this is the platform I care about, and these are the political philosophers that have influenced me the most, and also, here is this perhaps new way that you can interact with this material, and yeah, it's kind of really arrogant to do this, especially at such an amateur level, but also it's no one who's a professional political commentator even tries to write a political platform or even tries to discuss political philosophy at an academic level to try and use it to make our modern politics better. That literally just doesn't happen. So I know it's a little bit arrogant of me to do this, but I kind of feel like I should try anyway. Also, if you were to start a political YouTube channel, you would do it this way, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you write all the policies that you care about and all the people that made you think the way you did before you started talking about contemporary politics? That's what I would do anyway. That's what I'm doing, but that's not what most people do. Anyway, let's get back to the lecture. Thanks for listening.
books risk overlooking the issues facing us today. What can Aristotle or Hobbes tell us about the world of globalization, of terrorism, of ethnic conflict, and the like? Doesn't political science make any progress? After all, economists no longer read Adam Smith. I don't hesitate to say that you will never read Adam Smith in an economic.
I tried to alt-tab into OBS so that it would render the guy talking, but the controls don't work if I ult-tab out of the game, so I almost ran into the guardrail there.
Discourse here at Yale, and it is very unlikely.
Yeah, also, this is a Yale professor that we're learning political philosophy from. This course is just free on the internet. It'll be linked in the description of this video. You should definitely listen to it. This guy's way smarter than I am about politics. I will probably detract from his commentary rather than add to it, as you no doubt have noticed so far. But like I said, this is designed to make politics more accessible.
Likely that you will read Freud in your psychology classes. So why then does political science, apparently uniquely among the social sciences, continue to study Aristotle, Locke, and other old books? These are all real questions. And I raise them now myself because they are questions I want you to be thinking about as you do your reading and work through this course. I want you to remain alive to them throughout the semester. Yes? Okay. One reason I want to suggest that we continue to read these books is not because political science makes no progress or that we are somehow uniquely fixated on an ancient past, but because these works provide us with the most basic questions that continue to guide our field. We continue to ask the same questions that were asked by Plato, Machiavelli, Hobbes, and others. We may not accept...
This guy is so much more articulate than me. I try and think of my version of what I would say instead, like why do these books matter and why should we read them today? And yeah, what he just said is the way smarter version of what I would say, that these books still have value because we're asking these questions. And some of these books, like especially my two favorite books on political philosophy, are definitely The Prince and The Second Treatise. And oh my goodness, those two guys, John Locke and Niccolo Machiavelli, were so far ahead of their time. It's unbelievable. They are still asking the questions that we are, and they kind of have better answers to them than the ones that we have, even though, you know, they had access to no universal translation. They met like a Dunbar's number worth of people instead of millions. It's crazy. Let's start with some questions.
Accept their answers, and it's very likely that we do not. But their questions are often put with a kind of unrivaled clarity and insight. The fact is that there are still people in the world, many people, who regard themselves as Aristotelians, Thomists, Lockeans, Kantians, even the occasional Marxist can still be found in the Ivy League universities. These doctrines have not simply been refuted or replaced or historically superseded. They remain in many ways constitutive of our most basic outlooks and attitudes. They are very much alive with us today, right? So political philosophy is not just some kind of strange historical appendage to the attached to the trunk of political science. It is constitutive of its deepest problems.
Oh, I can talk about this a little bit, although he's already being more articulate than I would be. Yeah, we divide political science up. Very interestingly, we divide it into, I would say, political theory, international relations, and comparative politics. Is that how I want to say? International relations is kind of comparative politics, although I'm going to draw a distinction between international relations theory and more hard scientific comparative political analysis. And yeah, first of all, we don't start by teaching political theory. Like when you start the political science, when you start your political science degree, they're going to teach you about those three things and a little bit about them to start with, when I really think that every political education should start with. Where we're starting with the discussion of political theory, not necessarily the discussion of Greek philosophy, Greek political philosophy, because it's really, really hard to get into that stuff. I mean, we'll see when we get into it. We'll talk about how difficult it is after I do the readings again. I read The Republic for the start of my history of political thought course, and the entire thing, not just the first half. And I barely remember what this book is about, and I had to write thousands of words for it, and talk about it once a week in the course. So it's a tough book to understand, and political philosophy, a much better place to start, in my opinion, would be, for example, with the Second Treatise of the Prince, which is where, when we get to them, which is where I would be encouraging you to start. The Republic is a really important book that we need to keep around because it asks so many important questions, and it presents a conception of the world that is so fascinating that we because the Greeks thought it up, and I mean, like, would it work? Probably not, but man, it's interesting to hear about, as we will see.
If you doubt the importance of
Alright,
the
back on
study
track.
of
I missed
political
that turn.
ideas for politics, consider the works of a famous economist, John Maynard Keynes. Everyone's heard of him. Keynes wrote in 1935,
John Maynard Keynes.
"The ideas of economists
God,
and
he's the
political
next
philosophers,
DCA.
both when they are right and when they are wrong, are
That's
more
funny.
powerful than is commonly understood. Practical men," Keynes
I saw my
continues,
sister
"practical
something
men who
else. I know
believe
what you see
themselves
over
to be quite
By the way, thousands of people watch this game. I'm kind of surprised that pretty much nobody's tuned into the first half hour of the stream, given that, like, I'd say I can usually get about 10 or 20 people to, not 10, I'd say between 10 and 15 people to tune into a run through stream in about 2 hours, but we'll see who tunes in here. I mean, it did take us about 20 minutes to get it working and 25 minutes to start listening to the lecture.
exempt from any intellectual influence are usually the slave of some defunct economist. Madmen
That's
in
such a good
authority.
quote. Let's hear that again. It's actually very smart. I shit on John Locke a lot, but I recognize that quote when he said it. We should hear it again. Let's go back 30 seconds.
Keynes. Everyone's heard of him. Keynes wrote in 1935, "The ideas of economists and political philosophers, both when they are right and when they are wrong, are more powerful than is commonly understood.
That was smart. What a great inference.
Practical men," Keynes continues, "practical men who believe themselves to be quite exempt from any intellectual influence are usually the slave of some defunct economist. Madmen in
John Maynard Keynes. Breaking it down. I couldn't have said it better myself about John Maynard Keynes. Man, they're truly prophetic words, aren't they?
authority, who hear voices in the air, are distilling their frenzy from some academic scribbler of a few years back. So this course will be devoted to the study of those academic scribblers who have written books that continue to impress and create the forms of authority with which we are familiar. But one thing we should not do, right? One thing we should not do is to approach these works as if they provide somehow answers, ready-made answers to the problems of today. Only we can provide answers to our problems. Rather, the great works provide us, so to speak, with a repository of fundamental or permanent questions that political scientists still continue to rely on in their work. The great thinkers are great, not because they've created some set of museum pieces that can be cataloged, admired, and then safely ignored, like a kind of antiquities gallery in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, but rather because they have defined the problems that all later thinkers and scholars have had to use in order to make sense of their world at all. Again, we still think in terms of the basic concepts and categories that were created for us long ago. Okay? So one thing you will quickly note is that there are no permanent answers in a study of political philosophy.
Yeah, that's something that I find extremely frustrating. I mean, it's called political philosophy, not political science, for a reason. We honestly should rename the field to back to political economy or into political philosophy. Although, like I just said, political philosophy is an insufficient term to describe the study of politics in the fields of international relations and comparative politics, especially comparative politics. Like, say, comparative politics is definitely the most scientific component of political science, and it's one that I find extremely interesting. But yeah, political philosophy is not, it never produces hard answers. That's why we're still arguing about these things today.
A famous mathematician once said, "Every question must have a correct answer. For every question, one answer." That itself is an eminently contestable proposition. Among the great thinkers, there is profound disagreement over the answers to even the most fundamental questions concerning justice, concerning rights, concerning
We're buying a Volvo. I'm pretty sure you guys can already tell. I love having the GPS in the bottom right.
liberty.
Gotta break.
In political philosophy, it is never a sufficient answer to answer a question with the statement because Plato says so, or because Nietzsche says so. There are no final authorities in that respect in philosophy because even the greatest thinkers disagree profoundly with one another over their answers. And it is precisely this disagreement with one another that makes it possible for us, the readers today, to enter into their conversation. We are called upon first to read and listen, and then to judge who is right. How do we know? The only way to decide is not to defer to authority, whoever's authority, but to rely on our own powers of reason and judgment. In other words, the freedom of the human mind.
Isn't that great? See, isn't this where you start a political commentary career? Like promoting the... Oh, I hit that guy. Damn, he did so good. So $160 in fees. We got there at the very end. Let's just park like a pussy. Oh, we came so close. We came so close. Okay, well, let's... We can fix this. Yeah, let's just push it down. Back out a little bit here. Okay. Brake. Shift up. Turn the wheels a little bit more to the left. Straighten out. Hard right. And bam. No, it's the truck, not the trailer, right? Yeah. Do we want to try parking it for wheel? Where would I park it? I think this would be a tough one, wouldn't it? Where do you need it? We can always change our mind. Let's play it safe. Let's try this one. Okay, shift up to the drive. Let's get that extra XP. Okay. Perfect. Oh yeah, this is not that hard. We're not super lined up. Also, I can't tell where my view is. We want a little bit like that. Okay, straight down. Am I gonna miss it? I think I miss it a little bit. Let's turn over again. Okay, T. Stop. Oh, gotta go forward. Then shift up. Parking brake gauge, classic key move there. Brake, S key, detach. I did it! I parked that truck! Truck park. Excellent. Relatively intact shipping has completed its second delivery. Big money. $160 in fees. $3,000 in payment. Oh, and we can level up. No idea what to level up. I like that this game about trucking, by the way, has a leveling system. I think that we should level up our ability to carry dangerous goods or long distance. Oh, high value cargo, right? All cargo is valuable, but some is more valuable than others. 5% higher reward for high value delivery. 18% experience bonus for high value delivery. Or deliveries up to 350 kilometers. 5% higher reward for delivery. I think we want to level up our distance. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, and let's read our email. Need money? We can help. Oh yeah, the bank can like loan you, right? We offer favorable loans to new businesses that get it. No, let's just slowly start, okay? Let's just slowly start a business and not let's just slowly start a business. Let's not take loans out from the bank. 100,000 though. All right, let's get Keel back in the job market. Quick job. Once again, price per distance. Oh, this is another short one too. Yeah, let's just do it. Or what are the highest paying ones? 33, but it's 13.16. Yeah, definitely price per distance is what you want to do, huh? Chemical sorbent. Let's go.
To determine for us what seems right or best.
Oh, we're taking a Benz.
Okay?
I kind of like driving. Oh, whoa, big truck. Big truck. Wait, how do we get out of here? Oh, it's that way? Is it that way? Oh, it's probably that way. Okay. Literally, though, I don't even... How the heck are we... I've never moved a trailer this large before in my life. I'm a little bit nervous. This is a lot. I've never moved a double-decker trailer. Look, I'm already freaking jackknifing it. God, I hope this is the gate. How would I even get the trailer out of this gate? Maybe we chose the wrong job. Okay, this doesn't look like it either. Dude, this is getting bad. Okay, let's reverse. Okay. Okay, so it looks like we can't jackknife the trailer into the other trailer, which is really good. Okay, let's brake. Okay, let's try that on the left and see if that's the gate. Let's go hard down. Okay, let's hope that this is the gate. Come on. Doesn't seem very gate-like to me so far. Okay, let's go hard left down again. Turn the old truck around, and third time's the charm. This is a big truck. This is gonna be tough. Yeah, here we go. Is this even gonna work? How am I gonna fit the whole trailer through this tiny little gate? Well, let's try it. No, this is suicide. Okay, left. Oh, we're getting a little bit stuck already, but we just drag it on through. Perfect. Perfect. All right, well, we're on the road now. Let's get out of here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is gonna be tough. Okay, well, let's get back to the lecture.
But what are these problems that I'm referring to? What are these problems that constitute the subject matter of the study of politics?
Let's go through the wrong side of the gate.
What are the questions that political scientists try to answer? Such a list may be long, but not infinitely so. Among the oldest and still most fundamental questions are, what is justice? What are the goals?
That's the primary question of the Republic, if I recall correctly, by the way. Especially the first three books. And we're only going to be looking at the first half of the Republic. The first half of the Republic is much more interesting than the second half, by the way. It is a book all about trying to discover what the ideal city looks like for people to live in, and these four guys get drunk together and just talk it out. And yeah, it's super good. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I'm trying to focus on driving. This is going to be really good to like develop my streamer brain, play this game, look at chat, and do this lecture.
Of a decent society. How should a citizen be educated? Why should I obey the law? And what are the limits, if any, to my obligation? What constitutes the ground of human dignity? Is it freedom? Is it virtue? Is it love? Is it friendship? And of course, the all-important question, even though political philosophers and political scientists rarely pronounce it, namely, quid sit Deus? What is God? Does he exist? And what does that imply for our obligations as human beings and citizens? Those are some of the most basic and fundamental problems of the study of politics. But you might say, where does one enter this debate? Which questions and which thinkers should one pick up for oneself? Perhaps the oldest and most fundamental question that I wish to examine in the course of this semester is the question, what is a regime? What are regimes? What are regime politics? The term regime is a familiar one. We often hear today about shaping regimes or about changing regimes. But what is a regime? How many kinds are there? How are they defined? What holds them together and what causes them to fall apart? Is there a single best regime? Those are the questions I want us to consider. The concept of the regime is perhaps the oldest and most fundamental of political ideas. It goes back to Plato and even before him. In fact, the title of the book that you will be reading part of for this semester, Plato's Republic, is actually a translation, the title of it, of the Greek word politeia, that means constitution or regime.
Really?
The Republic is a book about the regime, and all later political philosophy is a series of footnotes to Plato, and that means that it must provide a series of variations, so to speak.
Oh, I'm not sure if you missed that because I was talking about it. Yeah, this is something that we talk about. This is something that people actually do say in your political science degree, is that all of political science is just footnotes to Plato. And yeah, this is such an interesting book. You'll see, it's really hard to get into. It really is a difficult read. But it does. I said this in my first or second year to myself. I didn't say this to anybody, but I wonder if it'll prove true now that I'm in my third year, that ancient philosophers ask all the questions you're interested in learning about as a political science major, but they don't provide the right answers. And modern political philosophers ask the wrong questions, very complicated questions, but actually provide you with the answers that you were looking for at the start. And yeah, it's really interesting that, in my opinion, at least, especially the opinion of me as a first year, that, and second year, first year, that's the way I started to look at it. I wonder if things will be different this time around.
On Plato's conception of the best regime. But what is a regime? Broadly speaking, the regime indicates a form of government, whether it is ruled by the one, the few, the many, or is more common, some mixture or combination of these three ruling powers. The regime is defined in the first instance by how a people are governed and how public offices are distributed, by election, by birth, by lot, by outstanding personal qualities and achievements, and what constitutes a people's rights and responsibilities. The regime, again, refers above all to a form of government. The political world does not present itself as simply an infinite variety of different shapes. It is structured and ordered into a few basic regime types. And this, I take it to be one of the most important propositions and insights of political science.
Interesting. Are you going to talk
Right?
about the Aristotelian regimes?
So far?
I don't think that those are actually super
But there is a
interesting.
corollary to this insight. The regime is always something particular. It stands in a relation of opposition to other regime types. And as a consequence, the possibility of conflict, of tension, and war is built into the very structure of politics. Regimes are necessarily partisan. That is to say, they install certain loyalties and passions in the same way that one may feel partisanship to the New York Yankees or the Boston Red Sox, or to Yale over all rival colleges and institutions, right? Fierce loyalty, partisanship. It's inseparable from the character of regime politics. These passionate attachments are not merely something that take place, you might say, between different regimes, but even within them, as different parties and groups with loyalties and attachments contend for power, for honor, and for interest. Henry Adams once cynically reflected that politics loyalty to Red Sox, or to Yale over all rival colleges and institutions, right? Fierce loyalty, partisanship. It's inseparable from the character of regime politics. These passionate attachments are not merely something that take place, you might say, between different regimes, but even within them, as different parties and groups with loyalties and attachments contend for power, for honor, and for interest. Henry Adams once cynically reflected that politics is simply the organization of hatreds. And there is more than a grain of truth to this, right? Although he did not say that it is also an attempt to channel and redirect those hatreds and animosities towards something like a common good. This raises the question, is it possible to transform politics, to replace enmity and factional conflict with friendship, to replace conflict with harmony? Today it is the hope of many people, both here and abroad, that we might even overcome, might even transcend the basic structure of regime politics altogether and organize our world around global norms of justice and international law. Is such a thing possible?
I can totally do that.
It can't be ruled out, but such a world, I would note, that is to say, a world administered by international courts of law, by judges and judicial tribunals, would no longer be a political world. Politics only takes place within the context of the particular. It is only possible within the structure of the regime itself. But a regime is more than simply a set of formal formal structures and institutions, okay? It consists of the entire way of life, the moral and religious practices, the habits, customs, and sentiments that make a people what they are.
Oh, $6 grand?
The regime constitutes an ethos.
No question.
That is to say, a distinctive character
Oh, you can see the job
that
prices
nurtures
selected.
distinctive
Maybe
human
we'll talk about
types.
it next time.
Every regime shapes a common character, a common character type with
I'm really sorry about that, by the
distinctive
way.
traits and
I
qualities.
guess it was meant to be, though.
So the study of regime politics is in part a study of the distinctive national character types that constitutes a citizen body.
That's another double.
To take an example of what I mean, when Tocqueville studied the American regime, or the democratic regime, properly speaking, in Democracy in America, he started first with our formal political institutions as enumerated in the Constitution, such things as the separation of powers, the division between state and federal government, and so on, but then went on to look at such informal practices as American manners and morals, our tendency to form small civic associations, our peculiar moralism and religious life, our defensiveness about democracy, and so on. All of these intellectual and moral customs and habits help to constitute the democratic regime. In this regime, in this sense, the regime describes the character or tone of a society, what a society finds most praiseworthy, what it looks up to. Okay? You can't understand a regime unless you understand, so to speak, what it stands for, what a people stand for, what they look up to,
Okay, good.
as well as its structure of institutions and rights and privileges.
Let's rewind this while I'm waiting for the slide to change.
This raises a further set of questions that we will consider. What regime forms small civic associations, our peculiar moralism and religious life, our defensiveness about democracy, and so on. All of these intellectual and moral customs and habits help to constitute the democratic regime. In this regime, in this sense, the regime describes the character or tone
Yeah, I think we're on the road.
of a society, what a society finds most praiseworthy, what it looks up to. Okay? You can't understand a regime unless you understand, so to speak, what it stands for, what a people stand for, what they look up to, as well as its structure of institutions and rights and privileges. This raises a further set of questions that we will consider over the term. How are regimes founded? The founding of regimes. What brings them into being and sustains them over time? For thinkers like Tocqueville, for example, regimes are embedded in the deep structures of human history that have determined over long centuries the shape of our political institutions and the way we think about them. Yet other voices within the tradition, Plato, Machiavelli, Rousseau come to mind, believe that regimes can be self-consciously founded through deliberate acts of great statesmen, or founding fathers, as we might call them.
I'm much more in the second school there, by the way.
These statesmen, Machiavelli, for example, refers to Romulus, Moses, Cyrus as the founders that he looks to. We might think of men like Washington, Jefferson, Adams, and the like, are shapers of peoples and institutions. The very first of the Federalist Papers by Alexander Hamilton even begins by posing this question in the starkest terms. It has been frequently remarked, Hamilton writes, that it seems to have been reserved to the people of this country by their conduct and example to decide the important question, whether societies of men are really capable or not of establishing good government from reflection and choice, or whether they are forever destined to depend for their political constitutions on accident and force.
I love Federalist number 1.
There we see
Such a good
Hamilton
essay.
asking the basic question about the founding of political institutions. Are they created?
Never gotten very far into the Federalist Papers, though. They are very, very boring. Tough to read.
As he puts it, by reflection and choice, that is to say, by a deliberate act of statecraft and conscious human intelligence, or are regimes always the product of accident, circumstance, custom, and history? But the idea that regimes may be created or founded by a set of deliberate acts raises a further question that we will study and is inseparable from the study of regimes. N'est-ce pas? Who is a statesman? What is a statesman? Again, one of the oldest questions of political science, very rarely asked by the political science of today, that is very skeptical of the language of statesmanship.
Good point.
In its oldest sense, political science simply was a science of statecraft. It was addressed to statesmen or potential statesmen charged with steering the ship of state. What are the qualities necessary for sound statesmanship? How does statecraft differ from other kinds of activities? Must the good statesman, as Plato believed, for example, be a philosopher, versed in poetry, mathematics, and metaphysics? Or is statesmanship, as Aristotle believed, a purely practical skill requiring judgment based on deliberation and experience? Is a streak of cruelty and a willingness to act immorally necessary for statecraft?
Race the train, guys, race the train!
As Machiavelli infamously argued. Must the statesman be capable of literally transforming human nature, as Rousseau maintains? Or is the sovereign a more or less faceless bureaucrat in the manner of a modern CEO,
We're going to have fun with
as,
this.
for example,
I know
someone
I haven't
like
been talking very much, mostly because this guy's so much smarter than me, and we're not talking about any course material, but I think this is going to be a fun series. I also kind of get the lecture actually in frame, so that you can see this guy. Yeah, if you're still here, thanks for watching the introduction. It'll be better next time. Also, we had to do the tutorial, we had to do all this stuff.
Hobbes seems to have believed. All of our texts that we will read, the Republic, the Politics, the Prince, the Social Contract, have different views on the qualities of statecraft and those qualities necessary to found and maintain states that we will be considering. All of this, in a way, is another way of saying, or at least implying, okay, that political philosophy is an eminently
Oh, you know what I could do? I could download these. I could download these videos, and then I'm sure I could get them to play in OBS that way. I think that's what I'll do for next time.
practical discipline, a practical field. Its purpose is not simply contemplation. Its purpose is not reflection
There'd be no
alone.
subtitles, though, I think.
It is advice giving. None of the people we will study this semester were cloistered scholars detached from the world, although this is a very common prejudice against political philosophy, that it is somehow uniquely sort of pie in the sky and detached from the world. But the great thinkers were very far from being just, so to speak, detached intellectuals. Plato undertook 3 long and dangerous voyages to Sicily in order to advise the king Dionysius. Aristotle famously was a tutor of Alexander the Great.
Amazing.
Machiavelli spent a large part of his career in the
I love it when history works out like that, by the way. Oh, I can't believe that Alexander the Great got to meet Aristotle and Diogenes. Oh, and I'm really excited to talk about Alexander the Great. We're going to be doing that on my personal YouTube channel, which is it linked here? Yes, it is. It's the bottom link on my Twitch channel, if you guys are interested. We're going to be trying to figure out who the greatest general in human history is, and we're starting off with Alexander, who is probably going to win.
the Foreign Service of his native Florence and wrote as an advisor to the Medici. Hobbes was the tutor.
Well, Machiavelli, this is a very actually good critique of Machiavelli. Man did not achieve a lot in life for writing such important work about how dictatorships and monarchies should be run. Machiavelli did not make it very far as the prince. First of all, because the Medici, I believe Florence was a republic when Machiavelli was advising the Medicis, which, you know, doesn't really make it so that he can rise to the very top for Pennsylvania. But he has another book called, oh my gosh, what's the name? Oh, Reflections on... It's called Machiavelli's Discourses, anyway. It's all about the Roman Empire and the Roman Republic, which is an absolutely fascinating book. I can't believe that Machiavelli wrote a book about the Roman Republic and the fall of the empire. I can't wait to get to it someday. Maybe we'll get to it on my Why You Should Read series, which is the series that's going to be coming out alongside this thing. Anyway, let's get back to the lecture. I can't remember what I was saying.
To a royal household who followed the king into exile during the English Civil War. And Locke was associated with the Shaftesbury Circle, who also was forced into exile after being accused.
Oh yeah. Machiavelli wasn't really much of a prince in life. Do I want to give it to anybody else? John Locke and Hobbes both have way more credit, in my opinion, than Machiavelli deserves, because they are trying to make sense of the aftermath of the English Civil War, which is the deadliest, third deadliest or deadliest, I can't remember, civil war per capita in the world. So like the Taiping Rebellion is the deadliest war, I think, definitely deadliest civil war by proportion of population. I think the by broad numbers, I think the American Civil War is up there for another reason, and the English Civil War is the deadliest war per capita. And it's because the English people, if you don't know about this, very few people do, the English people overthrew their monarchy in 1649 and established a commonwealth, or a protectorate, or a republic. Complete not true, but like a proper democratic experiment like the United States would be 150 years before. The United headlight usage events. Oh, I didn't turn on my headlights. There's always gonna be one ticket per thing, isn't there? I can't remember what I was saying because I got dinged by that asshole cop for the headlights. Let's get back to the lecture then.
Of plotting against the English king.
Oh yeah, sorry. Locke and Hobbes both had to try and make sense of the complete destruction that happened to the nations at the end of the Civil War, and both of them came up with absolutely fascinating answers. Hobbes probably knew what he was talking about more than Locke, though I actually am more of a Lockean than a Hobbesian. Anyway, we'll get to those things when we get to those books. Let's get back to the lecture. Thank you for listening.
Rousseau had no official political connections, but he signed his name always, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, citizen of Geneva, and was approached to write constitutions for Poland and for the island of Corsica. And Tocqueville was a member of the French National Assembly, whose experience of American democracy deeply affected the way he saw the future of Europe. So the great political thinkers were typically engaged in the politics of their times and help in that way to provide us, okay, with models for how we might think about ours.
Slow down. Don't stop this stupid red light.
A little break for refreshment.
Let's take a break for refreshment ourselves. Red light violation.
But this goes in a slightly different direction as well. Not only is this study of the regime, as we've seen, as I've just tried to indicate, rooted in many ways the practical experience of the thinkers we'll be looking at, but the study of regime politics, either implicitly or explicitly, raises a question that goes beyond the boundary of any given society.
If it's that easy.
A regime, as I've said, constitutes a people's way of life, what they believe makes their life worth living, or to put it again slightly different, what a people stand for.
I got it, dude.
Although we are most familiar with the character of a modern democratic regime, such as ours,
Yeah, we got this.
the study of political philosophy is in many ways a kind of immersion into what we might call today comparative politics. That is to say, it opens up to us the variety of regimes, each with its own distinctive set of claims or principles, each vying and potentially in conflict with all the others, okay? Underlying this cacophony of regimes is the question, always, which of these regimes is best? What has or ought to have a claim on our loyalty and rational consent? Political philosophy is always guided by the question of the best regime. But what is the best regime? Even to raise such a question seems to pose insuperable obstacles. Isn't that a completely subjective judgment, what one thinks is the best regime? How could one begin such a study?
No.
Is the best regime, as the ancients tended to believe, Plato, Aristotle?
Let's read our email. Hello, boss. I have something for you. Thanks to our connections, we're now able to get a real challenge. Some extra large, heavy cargoes need to be hauled by a true professional. It won't be easy, and it'll require some skills, patience, and cooperation with escorting vehicles and extra care. But I guess you have it all, right? Bigger risk comes with bigger profit. If you're interested, you can visit these cities. Oh, and this will be like moving like a house or something. To whom it may concern, we're looking for skilled drivers with their own trucks and a large number of deliveries. We offer competitive rates up to $4,500 per job. If you have your own vehicle, please inquire directly at our dock. I am good. I'm gonna keep doing this until I can afford my own truck. How much are trucks? We'll look at all that stuff next time. I want to finish this lecture so I can figure out the stream for next time and be more interesting, so that I could actually talk about this guy's lecture and talk about the we. I feel like I did not do a very good job this stream, but everyone's got to start somewhere. So thank you for starting with me right now.
Aristotle and others. Is it an aristocratic republic in which only the few best habitually rule? Or is the best regime, as the moderns believe, a democratic republic where in principle political office is open to all by virtue of their membership in society alone? Will the best regime be a small, closed society that through generations has made a supreme sacrifice towards self-perfection? Think of that. Or will the best regime be a large cosmopolitan order embracing all human beings perhaps even a kind of universal League of Nations consisting of all free and equal men and women. Whatever form the best regime takes, however, it will always favor a certain kind of human being with a certain set of character traits. Is that type the common man, as found in democracies, those of acquired taste and money, as in aristocracies, the warrior, or even the priest, as in theocracies? No question that I can think of can be more fundamental. And this finally raises the question of the relation between the best regime, or the good regime, and what we could say are actually existing regimes, regimes that we are all familiar with. What function does the best regime play in political science? How does it guide our actions here and now? This issue received a kind of classic formulation in Aristotle's distinction of what he called the good human being and the good citizen. For the good citizen, we'll read this chapter later on in the Politics, for the good citizen, you could say, patriotism is enough. To uphold and defend the laws of your own country simply because they are your own is both necessary and sufficient. Such a view of citizen virtue runs into the obvious objection that the good citizen of one regime will be at odds with the good citizen of another. A good citizen of contemporary Iran will not be the same as the good citizen of contemporary America. But the good citizen, Aristotle goes on to say, is not the same as the good human being, right? Well, the good citizen is relative to the regime. You might say regime specific. The good human being, so he believes, is good everywhere. The good human being loves what is good simply, not because it is his own, but because it is good. Some sense of this was demonstrated in Abraham Lincoln's
We'll wait till we get to Aristotle, by the way, before we answer those questions.
judgment about Henry Clay, an early idol of Lincoln's. Lincoln wrote of Clay, he loved his country, he said, partly because it was his own country, but mainly because it was a free country. His point, I think, is that Clay exhibited, at least on Lincoln's telling, something of the philosopher. What he loved was an idea, the idea of freedom. That idea was not the property of one particular country, but it was constitutive of any good society. The good human being, it would seem, would be a philosopher, or at least would have something philosophical about him or her, and who may only be fully at home in the best regime. But of course, the best regime lacks actuality. We all know that. It has never existed. The best regime embodies a supreme paradox, it would seem. It is superior in some ways to all actual regimes, but it has no concrete existence anywhere. This makes it difficult, you could say, and this is Aristotle's point, I think. This makes it difficult for the philosopher to be a good citizen of any actual regime. Philosophy will never feel fully or truly at home in any particular society. The philosopher can never be truly loyal to anyone or anything but what is best. Think of that. Raises a question about issues of love, loyalty, and friendship. This tension, of course, between the best regime and any actual regime is the space that makes political philosophy possible. In the best regime, if we were to inhabit such, political philosophy would be unnecessary or redundant. it would wither away.
I disagree.
Political philosophy exists and only exists in that, call it, zone of indeterminacy between the is and the ought, between the actual and the ideal. This is why political philosophy is always and necessarily a potentially disturbing undertaking.
Really interesting.
Those who embark on the quest.
What does he mean? I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to that earlier. But yeah, I don't know. I think that the ideal state will always have political philosophy. It's like it's not like the politics and social cooperation are so hyper complicated that it is impossible to like declare an end state of political science because you've discovered the ideal form of government. That's never going to happen. I've never listened to these lectures, by the way, although the fact that I really didn't have a lot to say about this one kind of makes me think that maybe I should listen to them so that I can like help explain them to you instead of listening to them for the first time. I kind of thought that first, oh shit, I hit someone. I fucking hit someone. Oh, we're not fucking doing this. Okay. We're not going to go 360 kilometers. I'll tell you that much now. We're going to do a big bad, super big law violation. I can do this, right? Oh my gosh, this is going to be so cool. We're going to do a U-turn and drive into the oncoming ramp so that we don't have to drive 100 kilometers to get where we're going. It's not that busy on Old Cheese. This is going to be such a big merge. Oh shit, this is not going to work. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Excuse me, fellas. Oh, this car. I'm pushing it. I'm just gonna push it out of the. I'm just gonna push it out of the way. This guy, he's got to figure it out. We're causing a little bit of a jam. We're causing a little bit of a tizzy. All right. What do you guys think? Left or right? I think we're just gonna go straight left. This will get us off of the oncoming faster. Yeah.
Quest for knowledge of the best regime may not return the same people
Only $40
that they
to
were
save us 400
before.
dollars. I'm a genius.
You may return with very different loyalties and allegiances than you had in the beginning.
We'll be fine.
But there is some compensation for this, I think. The ancients had a beautiful word, or at least the Greeks had a beautiful word for this quest, for this desire for knowledge of the best regime. They called it eros, or love. Right?
Let's just book it.
The quest for knowledge of the best regime must necessarily be accompanied, sustained, and elevated
Man,
by
we were really
eros.
close to doing a job without fees.
You may not have realized it when you walked into this class today, but the study of political philosophy may be the highest tribute we pay to love.
Aw, that was really sweet.
Think of that.
That was really sweet.
And while you're thinking about it, you can start reading Plato's Apology for Socrates.
That's what we'll be reading next
which we'll
time.
discuss for class
The
on
most
Wednesday.
interesting speech
Okay.
in history, I would say. One of the
It's nice
most,
to see
if
you
not
back.
I can't think of a more interesting
And
speech.
have a very
than-
good but thoughtful September 11th.
Damn, we paid a lot of money this this trip.
Matters for him. His, in other words,
Oh, I thought we were done. I thought he was wrapping up there. Sorry for not pausing it. Yeah, the apologies is one of the most interesting speeches in history. I'm super sad we didn't agree with you.
seems to be a highly personal, in many ways highly individual quest for self-perfection, and not a doctrine about the value of freedom of speech in general. But even though, you might say, Socrates seems to be engaged in, again, this highly personal quest for self-perfection, there is something which one can't avoid, deeply political about the apology and about his teaching. At the heart of the dialogue, or at the heart of this speech, rather, is a quarrel with his accusers over the question, never stated directly perhaps, but over the question of who has the right to educate future citizens and statesmen of the city of Athens. Socrates' defense speech, like every Platonic dialogue, is ultimately a dialogue about education. Who has the right to teach? Who has the right to educate? This is, in many ways, for Socrates, the fundamental political question of all times. It is the question of, really, who governs? Or maybe put another way, who should govern? Who ought to govern? Remember also that the city that brought Socrates to trial was not just any city. It was a peculiar kind of city. It was Athens. And Athens was, until only fairly recent times in human history, the most famous democracy that ever existed.
Oh shit, did not nail it.
I say fairly recent times until, the American democracy. But it was until at least the 18th or 19th century, the most famous democracy that ever existed. The speech of Socrates before the jury is perhaps the most famous attempt to put democracy itself on trial. It is not merely Socrates who is on trial. Socrates intends to put the democracy of Athens itself on trial. Not only does the apology to force Socrates to defend himself before the city of Athens, but Socrates puts the city of Athens on trial and makes it defend itself before the high court of philosophy. So the ensuing debate within the dialogue can be read as a struggle, again, over who has title to rule. Is it the people? Is it the court of Athens, the demos, to use the Greek word for the people? Or is it Socrates, the philosopher king, who should be vested with ultimate political authority? That is, of course, the question.
Oh, the apology. I'd honestly say the apology is half the reason that we... Oh shit, I fucked this up. The apology is half the reason we're doing this course in the first place. The first time, like when I heard... The apology was the first text we looked at in my history of political thought course, and yeah, it changed my life, man. We literally held a trial for Socrates in my history of political thought course, and I had it. I freaking had it. Maybe I can just back up. I had it. Perfect. Okay. I can't even remember what I was saying. Oh, we held Socrates' trial in my political thought course, and we decided that he was guilty. And even though I guess you'll see in the apology, Socrates makes some really good points. If you try him the way you'd like to be tried and listen to his arguments, he's probably guilty of the crimes that he speaks sense to. And I'm really excited to talk about that with you. By the way, I'm pretty sure I haven't said it. If I have, I'll just repeat myself. I haven't watched any of these lectures. This is going to be my first time through them. We're going to go through them together, and I'm going to try and make it easier for you to understand them if you're a little afraid of dealing with these texts. That is going to be the end of this job, which probably means we're going to be at the end of the lecture and this episode. I know it was kind of boring, but like I said, we're just starting somewhere. We'll get better at this. I had fun doing this. I think that anyone who will tune in later will have fun listening to this, and I hope that this makes it easier for us to understand political science, political theory, and sort out our hyper-complicated, screwed societies. Alright, let's wrap up our lecture, and then we'll be done. Should be... where is it here? Yeah, awesome. Oh, we're already on the apology. We skipped right into it. I see. Well, we'll listen. We'll repeat the last 10 minutes next time. I was wondering why you went on so long. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. We'll take a look at the apology. Bye.